Okay, so I'm here with Mr. Andrew Barrett, who will be fighting at your fighting championship this weekend for the super featherweight title against Vladimir Stanka. It's been a while since we've seen him in the cage. So I'm really excited to get him back. In the meantime, he's opened his own gym, so there's a lot to talk about. Thank you very much for your time. How are you? Fight week, how are you feeling?
Brilliant, brilliant. You know, a lot of fighters they have trouble with weight cuts, but when you have a combat lab on your chest, everything's made easy. Shane Smith has me eating chocolate and ice cream on the way up to it, so making weights effortless. I've gone through hard weight cuts in the past without him, and now it's just smooth sailing the whole way.
Good. What is, just for people who might not know, what is the Combat Lab and what do they do? What does Shane do? Because people might be interested. They might want to take it on board if they're hearing you're eating chocolates and ice cream.
The combat, it probably be easier to explain what the combat lab doesn't do than what it does do. Shane is probably one of the most meticulous people I've ever met. He gets everything down to a T, and he covers nutrition, he covers strength and condition, he handles my strength and condition, and he particularly while he works with the general public if they want to lose weight and get in shape. He's particularly well geared towards fighters and athletes. He just knows how to fuel us properly for competition and get us ready for competition, which anybody that's been around fighting for any length of time knows it's a little bit more complicated for fighters because not only do they have to be fueled for performance, but they also have to get inside that weight limit to be ready to fight. So he's just one of those people, like every single time he opens his mouth, he has a new piece of information to make the whole process that much smoother for you. He does all the worrying for you, so you don't have to do a bit of worrying yourself.
Yeah, I know lads that are with nutritionists as well, and that's what they say. One of the biggest reliefs is when they have a nutritionist, so they might step on the scales, they might not be exactly where they want to be. And sometimes that happens and there might not be even no reasons, but that's what the nutritionist say. Just stay on track. Like that might have been a bad sleep, it might have been something, but it will come around in the end. So how much of a relief is it to have someone like that to handle that so you can just concentrate on drilling, preparing your for your opponent and just not having to worry about weight cut, which is in itself is a big relief.
Yeah, it's a what's it called? It's a huge relief. And for me, especially someone who's thinking of longevity, like I want to train until I'm 105 and I still want to be kicking 15-year-olds, 20-year-olds around the mat, even when I am that old. And I want to stay healthy, and like look, fighting it can take its toll on your health. There's no way like completely around that, but there is a way to improve these things. Like when you hear the stories of what fighters were doing in the past, it's honestly terrifying. And the saddest part is despite the fact that there's good information out and there's people like Shane out there, fighters are still doing the crazy way because they think the tough way, the hard way is always the right way. And for me, that just signals that a fighter feels like he needs to prove himself. If you want to find out if Andrew Barrett's tough, there's a whole host of YouTube videos to find out that he's tough. I don't need to prove it when I'm at home forcing broccoli down my throat and suffering through it. And Shane's just one of those people that just keeps everything on track. If you have a question, he answers it immediately. I don't worry as much about weight as maybe other athletes do because I am a veteran. I've been around this game for a long time. I'm comfortable with my body. I understand it. I trust it. But Shane is one of those people that just takes so much weight off my back. He handles so much of it. And he's also one of those people that, and I think this is rare, he genuinely cares about his athletes. He's not just looking at us as a product. He's one of those people that, like, if I've won or I've lost in the past, he gets almost more emotional about it than I do. And that's something that you can't replace. You can't buy a person like that.
Yeah, no, and like you said, with the years ago, the way they used to the weight cuts, that's because the information really wasn't out there. Whereas now, like you said, you've got abundance of information between Google, YouTube. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend them. I'd recommend going to a professional. And there's lots of professionals out there. There's so many around now. Like there's so many that are involved in the fight game. So don't do it the hard way because like that's going to affect your performance. But in terms of you've been out, but we're going to talk about your gym first, and then we'll go on to your time out. How is your gym going? The last time we spoke was obviously you were planning on the gym. How was the launch and how has everything gone since?
Fantastic. Honestly, better than I could have imagined. I think, especially if you've ever heard me talk or you have heard me talk about like the mindset I went into the nationals, I'm always one of those people that expects the worst, hopes for the best. So I knew I was going to make the gym work, but I thought I was going to struggle at the start. That was not what happened at all. I had met and had some of the most incredible people walk through that door almost immediately. I've only been open a few months and we can already see it grow. I went from 2 days and 2 classes a day to 3 days. And so now we're doing 6 classes. We're adding in MMA classes as well. And it's just growing more and more. And honestly, like I live the life and few people do, I get to play ninja and pretend to teach people how to be a ninja all day. And somehow I've convinced the world to pay me money for it on top of everything. So I couldn't be happier with the gym.
No, congratulations obviously on the success, and I wish you continued success with the gym. And like that, it's always hard starting off, but when you go to areas that might not have those facilities, people might flock to it because, like sometimes, especially in rural areas, people might not be able to get them because most of them are in big cities. So congratulations on it. But with that, when we were talking about you opening that, we were talking about you maybe competing again and maybe not competing again. And obviously you've come back now. What made you make that decision to come back and compete? Because last time I talked to you, I was unsure if I'd ever see you fight again.
Yeah, and honestly, I was there with you. I was being totally honest. I was like, maybe we'll never do this again, or if we do it again, it'll be a one fight for a bit, a crack, a bit of fun. I'll enjoy it. But something clicked with me. Life just kept getting better and better. Life kept like, honestly, I feel like I'm playing this game on easy mode. Like I'm showing up to training, and I'm teaching, I'm showing up to training, and I'm doing everything that I love all day. And Kieran just said to me, he's like, Andrew, you're looking better than you ever have, like way, way better than you ever have. And the truth is, and the funny thing is I said to him, and I'm not even trying. I'm not knuckling down. I'm not being the hardest, meanest man possible. I'm literally just going in there because I love fighting. I love training and I love martial arts more than anything else in the world. I do think it's the most beautiful art on the planet. And I've been performing well in the gym, and Kieran sat down with me and he had a very serious talk with me, and he just said, you know, he said that he thinks that I'm at a point where I should go pro. He said that I'm honestly looking like on fire. And he was not saying that prior to me stepping away from it. He thought I should actually push a bit further, but the way he's seen me perform now, he just can't believe it. But the first question he asked me was, he said, if you're going to fight, why do you want to fight? And I think that's a very good question. And I think it just shows the kind of person Kieran is. Kieran's not just trying to get me into fight to promote his gym that, they have a pro fighter and he's doing well. Kieran's looking out for my well-being. And the first thing I said to him was, I want to fight if it inspires and it helps my people, if it helps my gym, if it helps grow my gym, and it helps give opportunities to my young lads. I have some incredible lads in there already that are performing better than you could imagine inside 4 months. So that was my main goal when we were stepping back into a fight, to have that fight. I said, I said, if it stopped me inspiring my people, if it stopped me training my people, I would step away from it. And the funny thing is, as along the line, like, something changed. Like, I don't, maybe they don't feel like this, maybe they do feel like I'm the one inspiring them, but I was watching them show up to training, and they were the ones inspiring me. Like, I wanted to train so much harder just because I was watching these hosts of people from different backgrounds come in and work so hard to better themselves every day. I have young lads that are 16, 17. They have they have school, they have their own part-time work on top of it, they have their own other sports, and they drag themselves into training, and because they love it so much, they can't get away from it. I have my own mother who, like, broke her finger in training, so she stuck a boxing glove on and trained through it. The toughness came from somewhere. um I have a mother of 3 kids who car broke down, and she had all the excuse in the world to, sit back, be lazy, watch some Netflix, take life easy. So you know what she did? She cycled to training every
Wow.
day and didn't miss a session. So when I have people like that performing like that, looking up to me, how can I not raise myself to that standard? It's the kind of behavior that makes you want to be a better man, a better coach, and a better servant to your people. And I'm so motivated going into this, or just in every action I take in life, is always to improve and help those people, because I know they have my back, so I most certainly have theirs.
That's good, and I like that, the fact that you're not ashamed to say, or afraid to say, sorry, not ashamed, but afraid to say that those people have inspired you with those stories, like cycling every day. Like you said, for me, if my car was gone, I'd be like, someone give me a lift. I'm not cycling to work. But there was something as well that you were talking about when coming back fighting. Obviously, you said you were training better, you looked the best that you ever have, and Kieran obviously noticed it. And I like that he asked you the question, why would you want to fight? Because if it wasn't the right answer, he wouldn't have let you fight. So if it wasn't what it was for. But do you think, because you said you weren't competing, you wanted to focus on the gym, do you think you went in and enjoyed it more, and it just organically you grew as a person through all these good things happening, and you just got to a stage where there was, not that there was no pressure fight, but there was no fight in mind. It was just you were going in enjoying it, and that's how your skill set improved. Because I know Kieran does take blocks off with his fighters for like skill improvement. Do you think that was like what you done kind of subconsciously in your head?
Yeah, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I took the pressure off my back. I removed some of the stress in my life. I appreciated the things that I have. Again, how many people in the world can say that they do their dream job, that they get to teach people what they want to teach, they get to train in what they want to train every day, all day, nothing else. And that's the life that I live, and I don't think I truly appreciate it as much as I could. And I think a lot of that was me building and taking on stress that I didn't need to take. It wasn't my stress, it was other people's stress or other things stress. And when I removed myself from that, and I took on more responsibility than I've ever taken on in my life, probably 6 times the responsibility, and found it even easier than what I felt like I was doing 6, 7 months ago. Um, you know, I genuinely think there's nobody on this planet that loves martial arts as much as me, and I'm sure there's loads of people who would argue with me, and I kind of love that. They should argue with me. More people should love it that much. But I do. I did need to take that sit back, improve, and enjoy. And when I was going into this camp, I treated this camp. Me and Kieran talked about what should we do in the camp. we did nothing different. Not a single thing different. You don't need to do it different when you have the right formula. The right formula is you go in and you love it. You love every moment of it. You go in enjoying training, and that brings you on. You would usually, coming up to a fight, stop my development. I would go, we just need to, have hard rounds, push the body. I didn't do this camp. I don't need to do this camp. I know I'm fit. I know I'm strong. I got the best people behind me, supporting me, getting me in shape. I don't need to worry about any of those things. The only thing I need to worry about is enjoying the sport. And when I enjoy the sport, I get better. And when I get better, you're going to see some beautiful performances from me. And that's definitely what I'm going to show on IUR this weekend.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can't wait to see you back. It's been quite a bit. It's been, I want to say, about 18 months, maybe. Was it the end?
It's been over a year anyway, definitely. I wouldn't know exactly what it is. But yeah, it's been over a year, and I have been dying to get back in the cage. I even accepted going back fighting amateur, and we have been trying to get an amateur fight for me on a few cards prior to this. I had a lot of pullouts that didn't want to take the fight or took the fight, and then a week later took a different fight and pulled out on me. So I have been trying to come back amateur, but the prospect of making this a more serious return wasn't on the horizon until later on, when Kieran saw the performance that I'm getting. Every day he says, don't change whatever you're doing. We can see how quickly I'm getting better. We can see how quickly we're improving. And that's it. Just enjoying and loving the sport. This year I'm planning on traveling and training with loads of different gyms. I was already to CMAC this year. I loved, enjoyed that. And hearing and seeing different people's perspectives on the sport is just incredible, especially people you respect so much.
Yeah, that's good. That obviously, because you and CMAC have actually a close relationship. I know, was it last, because a lot of you would have fought each other and then you started training together as well. And I think that's pivotal. And I don't want to say for smaller gyms, but gyms that don't have as many bodies, as obviously SBG HQ has loads, Fight Academy Ireland has loads. And like you said, it's different if you're with the same training partner, his zig and his zag. Whereas if you go against another training partner from another gym, he's going to open up different moves, different possibilities that potentially could happen in a fight.
Yeah, no, exactly. And honestly, CMAC and Air Grapple and their perspectives on the sport, our actual techniques and our applications are quite different, but our approach to the sport is very similar in that, you don't see huge egos, people pushing each other out. When I went up and sparred there, like, I came out this in the same shape I went in, where there's other places that would try and knock your block off. They'd hear that you were a champion, and then that was their opportunity to get a win, which obviously is a little bit dumb. Nobody's going to ever talk about what you did in the gym, or anybody that does is a very casual person in the sport. At the end of the day, it's what you do under the lights. It's not what you do in the gym that counts.
Yeah, because that's what they say: losing the gym and winning the cage. So there's no point. Like you said, that's just egos. But you're gonna be coming back. It's a fantastic show as always. He matches it really well. Do you think the timeout will affect you at all, or has your performance been that well? Like, not just physically, but maybe mentally walking back in.
It will 100% affect me, and it will definitely affect me mentally. But the what most people think is that it will affect you negatively. Honestly, I think I was going in with to my fights with negative energy, with negative and things that were holding me back inside of the fight. The person that you're going to see in the cage is a completely different human being, which I think is going to scare a lot of people because the person you saw in the cage before was a nightmare to fight already. But this Andrew Barrett is a completely different animal. I'm going in to enjoy that fight. I'm not going in to fight and survive. I'm going in there to paint on my canvas, on my caged canvas. And I cannot wait to do that.
You know, and I'm looking forward to you getting back. And it's obviously for a title, you're fighting Vladimir Stanko, who is a very tough competitor as well. That's what you want. You want these tough guys. You want these hard guys because you get someone that you know you can beat. There's no learning in that. What you make of Vladimir and his style and his game plan, because I think he won his last fight and he lost two in a row, but he was on a bit of a streak. What you make of him as an opponent? Because I think he's a very tough opponent for you and a very good one.
Yeah, he's a very physical athlete. I think he's a very strong athlete. He's one of those people that makes bad situations good situations. You know, he drags himself out of, you know, a lot of times you see him in fights and you think he's out and then he comes back like nothing. He's incredibly tough. If he's one of those people who nearly let his arm break in a submission, nearly let him go unconscious in a choke, and I respect all those things. I think Vladimir, the difference between me and him is that Vladimir is a fighter and I am not a fighter. I'm an artist. When you see me in there, it's not going to be strength versus strength. I have the combat lab behind me. If I wanted to do strength versus strength, I would still win that battle hands down. But strength versus strength is not what you're going to see in there. What you're going to see in there is beautiful martial arts performed at the highest level. And when you see that performance, you're going to think to yourself, when is this guy going to go pro?
That's good, and I can't wait to say. So we're going to be looking at a very beautiful technical martial arts performance from you, is what you're predicting is going to happen. We're not obviously looking past Vladimir, but you said you want to go and do a bit of traveling. Obviously, Vladimir is now he's next. You're not looking past him, but do you think you'll be going pro after this fight? Will there be more amateur fights, or will it depend on the results of this fight and the performance?
Well, if he flatlines me in the first round, I'll think twice about it. I might take a second one. But definitely pro is on the horizon. That's where we're looking towards. And again, the only reason why I want to go pro, I don't want to go pro to be an incredible, you know, martial artist that gets famous. I want to go pro because I want to open opportunities for my people. And if going pro is the thing that does that, that's what I want to do. The other reason why I want to go pro is because it's going to let me use even more tools than I was using before. I've already been training with elbows. I cannot wait to step in and use those techniques. And that honestly really excites me. Like, I'm thinking about stepping into the cage in IUR this weekend. And when it's done, cannot wait to get back on the mat so I can start playing with my tools again. So I can start playing with those paintbrushes, playing around with those techniques, experimenting with what I can do on the mat, and getting myself that much better.
You know, and I can't wait to see the performance, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. Like that, you were at the top of the amateurs at the time when you kind of went away. You're coming back, you're back for a title. So it's going to be a fantastic fight and a fantastic show in general, because the show is always really well matched. But I'm going to let you go. Is there anything you want to say before you go, or anyone you want to shout out? And I want to thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure again.
Well, thank you so much for having me on. And honestly, the interview is one of the things I was looking forward to all week. The people I want to shout out, I'll have them hopefully on my t-shirt if we get it done in time. Combat Lab supporting me with nutrition, with strength and conditioning, keeping me in top tip shape and making the weight cut effortless. I want to thank Kieran and Jamie. I don't think Jamie gets nearly enough credit, which she does behind the scenes, helping and supporting us. I want to thank my mother for always being there and always helping me when it is needed. And I want to thank all my teammates for getting me ready. And I want to thank the King's Court for inspiring me. Honestly, those people are getting better and better each day, and they're changing. And it's not just about martial arts. In there, you can see people that are going through a lot of hardship in their life, and they're getting through it because they have not just a martial arts gym, but a community that's supporting each other, that's pulling together and taking care of each other. Like attracts like, you know, when one person's leading a group that all he wants to do is help people, the people that are coming through the door are people that want to help each other. And it's beautiful seeing it. A session ends, everybody circles up on the mat, and the first thing everybody does is tries to improve each other's life. And I don't think I could imagine anything more inspiring than seeing that.
Perfect. I love how you articulate stuff and the way you put stuff together. That's why I always love having these interviews, because I just ask a question and then you can go on and elaborate on it in your own way. And that's what I love, because you're very unique in that sort of sense. So it's always a pleasure. It's going to be a pleasure again to see you fight in person this weekend. And I can't wait for it. Thank you again. You've been an absolute gent.
Thanks so much.